there's so much good music out there. They may not play it on the radio. You may not see it on TV or on your award shows, but there's still so much good music out there, y'all. And don't fall into that trap where you feel like, the Migos and like and Cardi B. You're not obligated to listen to any of that.
You should know better by now.
Yeah. And so if you're still like one of these old people, and when I say old people, I'm talking about myself.
I see you long.
I'm 44 years old. And so I'm talking to the people who are my age, who's like, man, all this rap music, nobody's creative anymore. Like, you're just not looking hard enough.
Look.
And you are, just don't give me your lazy music takes.
Bruh, MP3s are over 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bar.
Like,
that's a bar.
Where are you at? The internet is a thing.
That's a bar.
You know, like, so if you're still the radio was never for you.
To T-Pain's credit, though, when he said that, if I heard him correctly, it was in relation to records that he had been sent, and people were mad at his response because of what he was saying.
I don't think they were mad.
Yeah, I'm talking about. It wasn't like he was just assessing everything I hear. It's like people were submitting stuff to him, and he's like, y'all do something else.
Let me tell you something. Let me tighten the mic up real quick.
Tighten it up now.
So, as somebody who has accepted submissions, and Terry has as well,
for years,
let me tell you something. The amount of music that people that accept submissions get that sound exactly like something else that have no type of uniqueness to it, I'm telling you, like, I used to get over 100 emails a day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like maybe one or two of them would be decent.
I've heard you say that before.
And I'm not lying.
I've heard you say that before.
Because I want to like music. You know, like, I don't.
You're not here to.
I'm not like, ha, you suck. No, it's like, it's not like that. And the thing is, like, most people in general, and don't get me wrong, I know we're kind of tangenting here, but
no, do you think?
It's a great way to learn how to make music is to copy. To do that, I teach that. But like, what is like this? There was this thing where people like, man, I made this record and it's really good. It sounds just as good as this person. It's like, well, then I'll go listen to that person. Like, I don't need like Johnny Chunky over here doing the same song that Drake is doing. Like,
you don't need the generic brand when it comes to music. You don't need the generic brand.
I don't.
No, I don't need
I'll
the
just
great
go
value.
to the real thing.
I don't need the great value version of the baby.
I don't. No. You like, so
you're not going to stand out, sir. If you do that.
So I understand what T-Pain's saying 100% because that's what it's like. People are like, but it's great. It's high quality. It's this. They're like, but I've heard it
over and over and
I've
over
already
again.
heard it.
Look, I remember when I was working in radio and like, you know, my man DJ Rec One, like people knew that he was on the hip hop side, you know, because I was on the R&B side at the Urban AC station. They'd be like, hey, I got this music and be like, well, okay, what does it sound like? And this was something we heard more than once. I rap like Bone.
Oh,
what?
Man.
No, for real. I rap like Bone.
No, you don't.
And it was like, but there's already Bone. We don't need you to rap like Bone.
Yeah, we don't need Milk Bone.
Yeah, we got Milk Bone. But
absolutely, yeah.
But we don't need Bone Thugs and Harmony too.
I think that's something that a lot of, and we kind of transfer everything in here. But we've got shouts to why is this on? Okay. Shouts to West Side Gun. But the one thing that I think a lot of artists don't realize early enough is that, you know, like, yes, it's great to have these skills.
Yeah.
But when, I don't mean to sound like an old head, but when we were coming up making music, sure, we may have like heard something, be like, oh, let me try to make that, you know? But we weren't in a position to then turn around and put it out on the internet and share it to a whole bunch of people.
Right.
We would just continue to make stuff and then eventually we would put it out some way. But nowadays, it's just like you make something, you've been making beats or making music for a year, you put it out.
Look what I can do.
I can do it. I made it. And there's like there's not a ton of middlemen to subtly say like, yeah, that's good, but you still got a lot of work to do.
Let me ask you this. And you said something that caught my attention as it relates to how you teach class. You said, I teach, make sure I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably paraphrasing, but you said, you know, you teach your students about, I guess, trying to make stuff, mimic certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say
steal like an artist.
Okay. So when you say that, are you saying go for that sound verbatim, or are you saying put your elements into it and make something similar to that.
No, what I'm saying is that what I teach my students, if they make it through the full 9 months of class of learning Ableton Live, and they stick around, there's a part in that class where I have them choose a song, and I say, try to make this song exactly the same way.
Okay.
Try to take everything, all the elements, and remake it. And it's because it's a practice in learning how to do something. They're not yet in a position to make something creative that is their own.
Okay.
You know, like they can't do that yet. And so I think that as far as learning different things, like if you're a producer, take a Mad Lib, take an Alchemist, take a Timbaland, take a Swiss Beats, whatever, make one of their beats, whatever, remake it. Try to do it the best you can, but then go back and like when you work on your own stuff, you know, take from them, but don't mimic it. Right. But I feel like a lot of artists, quote unquote, in our time right now, just don't have that intermediary step. They don't have, like, if they're doing it on their own, they're like, all right, I'm going to try to make something that sounds exactly like this. I'm going to take this person's cadence. I'm going to take how they're rapping, or I'm going to take how they're making it. They don't have the step. They don't have the time built in to actually develop themselves outside of what they're mimicking. So they sound exactly like something else.
I remember there was a local cat that used to submit to the site all the time and was actually featured on one of the Gateway albums that would pretty much pick the artist he wanted to be at that time. And I'm not going to say any names. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Not yet, but I'm sure.
But he would pretty much be that artist for that point in time. He had even changed his name at one point in time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was so obvious and blatant that it was annoying.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, man.
Wait, he changed his name to fit?
No, I mean, he changed his name, but to Terry's point, like, you could tell that he was a chameleon in the sense of he wasn't necessarily, and maybe he was still finding himself.
Was it Logic?
No.
Logic was from that.
But I think that's, you know, that's
there.
the thing. Like, there's not a lot of artist development. We don't have that. So there's nobody that's like putting out mixtapes and trying to rap like somebody else and trying to do this stuff. It's just like, even Logic, we've given him, you know, a hard time because he sounds like Kendrick on a lot of stuff. Like, he sounds like he's taking Kendrick's model and just mimicking it in a lot of ways. Those that can hear it, those that can hear it, can hear it. Those that don't, maybe you don't hear it, but some of us definitely hear it.
Y'all put me on. I ain't gonna hold you.
But I think it's a unique place that we're in with just artist development and creativity because anybody has access to everything. And, you know, if you're out there, it's really hard to get listened to. And if you sound like somebody else, it's tough. So like you have to, this is another reason why, what was that phrase from Little Brother from Fonte? He said, he was talking to Jazzy Jeff and he said, would you work 10 years for your dream and 7 years later, now I'm seeing what it means and all this other stuff. And I always took that quote just to heart because it was like, there's so much, and I don't know exactly how he meant it. I'm not going to suggest that. But what I took it as is there's so much development as just a person in general and as an artist that, you know, who you are right now might not be who you are tomorrow. And depending on how many hours you put into your craft or whatever you're doing, you may not be who you actually are. You still might be a lot of somebody else. And a lot of artists that I hear are other people. And, you know, I think until you can graduate out of being under the shadow of sounding like somebody else directly, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody cares.
I think that's why some artists say that they don't listen to anybody else.
I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those from a production standpoint.
But I hear artists say that. I hear comedians say that. You know, because you don't want to accidentally tell someone else's, you know, joke. Across the board.
As a producer, and Lone, you can speak to this. I think in your mind, you don't bite. You never go into a situation trying to bite someone. But if you listen to enough stuff and you hear it, it's like
subconscious.
That's what I'm talking about. It's going to come out if you listen to a lot of stuff that's being played over and over and over again. Right. So I try to, the way I listen to new music now is I'll stumble upon it, or someone that's credible, that I deem credible, will send it to me. Yo, man, you need to listen to this. Yo, you need to listen to this. Like that's the way I get it now because I don't listen to the radio. I just don't. You know, I get music through references that people try to put me on to. That's just the way I get
listen because I'm constantly trying to find something dope all the time.
Yeah.
But and even DJing, you have to kind of be like
Right.
that.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think I mean we all bite. You know, but it's just like the level of it, you know, and it's the intent. And it's like, are you trying to make it unique? And are you trying to like actually, you know, and for the people that are quote unquote critics or tastemakers, like as myself and as, you know, Terry, like we've done this for a long time.
High level.
And so when I say that we have a different ear, we have a different ear. And it's not an ear that you can teach. And it's not one that if you're an artist you only been making music for 4 years, like I can't explain it to you yet. You're just not there. I'm just going to say, well, try again.
Keep working.
I'll listen next time.
Yeah.
But we all bite.
Yeah. I agree.
Bite.
I agree 100%.
Influence is key.
Yeah, it is. And you drop some jewels, man, in terms of how you approach your students and everything. That's real. You know, I think I like that as kind of like a final, like see if you can, you know, recreate something.
I think it's one of the first things I ever learned when I went to college was one of my professors was like going to school for programming. He was like, see a website you like, steal the code. And I was like, what? Steal the code? You know? And I was like, all right, cool. Look at it. You see what they're doing. And then because you realize you're not going to do it the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a learning process. And it's the same thing. You know, like if you really like this instrumental, this is what you kind of want your music to sound like.
Yeah.
Cool. Then you're going to learn techniques that person did, and you're going to learn how to make stuff similar, and then you're going to add your own swing to it. But it always takes, there's just, you know, we're in a really fast world right now.
True.
And, you know, a lot of us don't have patience to actually learn.
If you've enjoyed this segment from the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live chat every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/New Old Heads Network. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. We also invite you to join our private Discord community at newoldheads.com/community.